What made you say yes to talking about failure?
Since I got into this work and this journey, I probably let go of the word failure. I just believe that, things don't turn out my way because it's not the right time, it's not the right season, it's not how it was meant to happen. The trajectory of how I thought my radio career would go. But it's not and I don't use it as like a failure, and that's why I don't call it that, because I don't think I would be the person that I am if things had went the way I had envisioned as a 18-year-old, when I first got on radio, for starters. Or another one is, I'm a single mom. I had never envisioned that I would be a single mom, but I had a sense of like, I'm not going to get married in this circumstance.
Let's talk about that, the thing that didn't happen for you in your radio career. Looking back now, what do you think that moment taught you?
It taught me that my story is bigger than a position, and it taught me that my journey in media would live beyond what I thought it would be about, and that I would be the radio icon that I am, because I've been able to navigate the issues of what makes broadcast in South Africa in a way that I think women in generations before me were not able to, because they had to articulate certain things with caution because of the positions that they occupy.
As a mom, what do you teach your children about things not going their way?
I sort of like try to show them the different side to the same thing, that you can still get it, but not the way that you envision. You have to be patient with yourself, and you also have to understand that just because you see it this way, it can't always be like that.
My guest today is Penny Lebyane, a trailblazer who has spent decades contributing to the South African media industry. She is a fearless broadcaster, known for her unapologetic activism and never mincing her words. She's also a woman who understands that the greatest moments of growth come directly from her most visible failures. Welcome, Penny.
Thank you.
I don't know why I sing your name.
Welcome,
Penny.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. What made you say yes to talking about failure?
Well, I like you. I mean, I'll say yes to anything that you ask me to participate. Actually, I don't just like you. I love you.
I
so
love you.
So if you're doing something, and I just wanted to contribute to your journey as best as I can.
I appreciate that gift. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
The beginning of the conversation is your definition of failure.
I actually don't have like a personal definition.
Yeah.
And I think it's different at my age versus when I was young. Like when you go to school, you write a test and then you miss the mark. And also that's also a very mature way of saying it, because
Missing the mark.
Missing the mark. But when you are a young person and you write a test and they say you failed, it's devastating. But I think since I got into this work and this journey, I probably let go of the word failure at like 28, 29 there. So at this current moment, I don't have a definition of the word failure. I just believe that, things don't turn out my way because it's not the right time, it's not the right season, it's not how it was meant to happen. And what is mine will still happen at the time that it is sort of like set out to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have things that haven't gone your way?
I definitely have.
Yes.
Yeah, I have.
I love how you're ready to respond. You got plenty. Let's go into that shelf of things that haven't gone your way. Pull out one that was most challenging to navigate.
I think the most challenging, was sort of like, the trajectory of how I thought my radio career would go. But it's not and I don't use it as like a failure, and that's why I don't call it that, because I don't think I would be the person that I am if things had went the way I had envisioned as a 18-year-old, when I first got on radio, for starters. Or another one is, I'm a single mom. I had never envisioned that I would be a single mom, but I had a sense of like, I'm not going to get married in the circumstances.
Yeah.
So somebody looks at it as, they might look at it as failure. I don't look at it that way. And I wouldn't be Penny if those things had gone that way.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, for the context of the conversation,
Yes.
because people perceive those things, I mean, particularly not getting married, being a single mom, some perceive it as that. And I would say the way I use my radio career is like, I was definitely sure that I'm going to be the first female on drive on Metro, and that didn't happen. So that was a thing for me, because I spoke about it. Early in my career, like, this is what I want to do. This is how it's going to turn out. And when it didn't happen that way, so that's that.
And let's talk about that, the thing that didn't happen for you in your radio career. Looking back now, what do you think that moment taught you?
It taught me that my story is bigger than a position. And it taught me that my journey in media would live beyond what I thought it would be about, and that I would be the radio icon that I am, because I've been able to navigate the issues of what makes broadcast in South Africa in a way that I think women in generations before me were not able to, because they had to articulate certain things with caution because of the positions that they occupy. So I could articulate what those challenges are, what the issues are, to actually move us to where we are as a nation. When you look at like the role of women in radio, in media, I feel that if I had just got on the show and became, did that show, whether they gave it to me for a year or 2 months, it would have been like, she got that, so she has nothing to talk about, but because it didn't turn out that way, I really got to deal with the systematic issues that puts women in position like that. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So I know you and I have chatted about this. This was, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so. And we went down like a little bit of a reflection on your journey. There were things you said you've been told to be less of,
yes,
or to avoid being. Let's go to those things. And because I love how you have the clarity on, yes, they say I should be less of this, but am I willing to be less of that as Penny? And that's where your value system, I guess, stands up and shows up for you. Like, I'm not willing to necessarily drop the things that make me who I am.
I mean, shucks, I was told to be less vocal. I was told to be less direct about my capabilities, like, tone it down a little bit. Like, your confidence is a problem. You're too much. It was so funny. Yesterday, I said something to my daughter about having too much, and she said, "Yeah, it's because you're less." And I was like, why didn't I have that clap back when I was a kid? And I was like, okay, I did well. You've got to come back. And she was like, you're being less right now.
I love that.
And then it was because I came with a value system that, if you work hard, if you're loyal, if you're dedicated, and if you direct about the way you want to go, people encourage you and enable you to go there. And I didn't realize that the world doesn't work like that. So that was a value system that I believe that I can do anything that I put my mind to, and that if I'm open about it, it makes it clear how you can work with me. But I didn't realize that becomes a threat, that becomes a overconfidence, that is called all sorts of things that I didn't have the language for at the time.
Yeah. So in the moment when you're being told to dial back, what goes on in your head? And how do you respond to that in that conversation?
Well, you think you're not good enough. You think you're not good enough. You think you don't have what it takes.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, you think you don't qualify. You think you're the problem. And then, in hindsight, I realized, no, I wasn't the problem. It's not me. It wasn't me. And I try to tone down, and that's the stuff that leads to anxiety and depression.
Yeah, it does.
It does, because you're silencing yourself. You are dimming your own light. You are you're discouraging your own spirit. So you allowing other voices to come into your mind and your faculty of the essence of who you are. And I did for a while. And then I had to wake up from it and to go back to owning my own voice and to trusting myself, and also to allowing myself to actually say it out and let that that word and whatever it is to become what it's meant to. That at the end of the day, I'm just a conduit for that message. I am just a dreamer of that moment, and sometimes it's for me, but at most it's for my audience, to inspire others, and all of that. And it's a journey of human life.
Yeah. I remember when I was going through the divorce and in counseling, in therapy with my ex-husband, I remember saying to the therapist, I don't know who to be anymore, because the thing that I am is what is a problem.
Yeah.
And I was so like, I tried. You try
to be
to not be
to not be
to like and then I was like, hi man, this is hard. You also forget.
Yeah.
Because you are falsifying your image and your personality. In the moment that you tried, what were your struggles within yourself? Because for me, it was just like my joy had disappeared. It took,
So my joy disappears. The interest in the things that I like. So I thrive and find joy in sort of like shining the light on other people's things, on celebrating other people, on supporting other people, on speaking, up on things that can add value and elevate to community collectively. So I had to like stop certain things. I had to be like, oh, I can't have an opinion on that. I can't have. So I also am a vision catcher. Like when somebody says to me, I'm doing this, I get excited and I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna work. Then I had to go, oh, you can't have too many ideas about that, because it's gonna be like, now you are so slowly, that chips away at your confidence. It chips away at your voice, and then you sort of like you don't know. You walk around with, does this one think I'm too much? Does this one think I'm too loud? Does this one think, so you suddenly, you don't say the things how you feel. So you're disconnected to your emotions, how you express yourself, what you do. So you literally pull away. So I had to pull away from a lot of things and walk away from a lot of things, and not put me, in spaces, because it's just like, oh, I'm going to make a mistake again, or I'm going to be the problem again.
Yeah. Being okay to take the consequence
Yeah.
of being yourself is another thing, I think, for me, that I've got to ask myself all the time. I'm like, you a Penny, you speak your mind. Is there a moment where you think, okay, I'm going there, I'm going to speak my mind, and okay, the consequence I'm good to take?
So I had to learn to get to there.
Okay.
I had to learn to get to a place where I'm like, okay, this has to be said, and I'm ready to deal with the consequence of what it comes with. And I've also learned to go to, I'm not going to say anything now. I'll say it later. Let this thing pass, and then let it sit in me. Let me process it. Let me work through it. Let me go through all the scenarios of like how well it can go or how bad it can go. And it can go. And then after that, what do I do? But then also, I got to a place where I also came to understand that, the work that I do and the person that I have become is not just, it's not a packaged thing where it's a character. It's the essence of who I am. Am I living my truth in that moment? And what am I willing to continuously do to live that truth? So I'm just at a place now where I'm like, I gotta say what I gotta say, because that is what has been downloaded in me. My Holy Spirit, my God, my whatever has downloaded that, and then I'm a conduit for that message at that particular time, whatever the consequence are, and whether it's congratulations or I'm not so sure. So, and I don't, now I trust that I'm that voice. I have to do what I have to do. And it's now second nature, because I find myself, I've said something and then now it's trending and I'm like, oh, okay. But now can I back it up?
Yeah.
So so I'm always ready to back it up.
Yeah. Talk to me about a moment where you've been involved in something and failure was not an option.
I think when I was dragged into a court case, that I didn't understand. I mean, I personally understood, but I didn't understand what is the end goal of dragging me into the court case, because dragging me into the court case literally makes the issue bigger. Yes, it's bigger for the victims that are directly directly involved at the time. And putting me there, you literally make this thing bigger than it is. If you had just kept it to the people who were involved, it would have went with those people. But putting my name, but at the same time, I understood that I don't think that was the intention, because I was not the first respondent. I was not the second respondent. I was mentioned in a paragraph, and nobody cared to ask. Actually, everybody assumed that I'm the first respondent or the second respondent. I was never a respondent in a court case. I was mentioned in paragraph 115 or something of the founding affidavit of the document. But because it involved someone that I'm associated with previously, everyone just assumed that I'm, there's something wrong with my role in it. Whereas legally, there was no grounds for me to be dragged in a court case, to be in the front page. But because I respect the law and I understand the journey of victims, I basically allowed myself to go through that process. At first, I was like, I don't want to be part of this, actually. And the people around me said to me, you got to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
This person continuously to bully you. But because you speak the way you speak, people actually think that they can do that. And I was like, but I don't want to do that, because it becomes about what it's not about. There's victims here of gender-based violence, and I'm an advocate for gender-based violence. I know what it's like for women in this country to die with a protection order. Someone to accuse and say that they have a protection order against me and they can't prove it, or someone to say that I'm toxic. I work with mental health. I understand what it takes to say someone is toxic. You can't say someone is toxic without a toxology report. It's like people saying, it's so-and-so gay. You can't out someone until they've told you. Like, I know what the human rights of this country are. And I was willing to go through that process so that when I speak to a victim, I know what people go through when they go through the courts. What the pro bono lawyers have to do, what NGOs. That's why I went with an NGO. I could have gone with a business lawyer to protect my reputation, but I felt like my reputation is not at stake. There's a principle here of people using the justice system to do things for themselves. But that for me was a moment where I was like, I don't want to do this, but I have to use my voice beyond this moment.
When you think back in that scenario, what guidance, did you phone someone, call a friend, and just get an opinion?
I did.
And what kind of guidance did you get?
So at first I laughed and I said, this is silly, man. Because when you get a call from a newspaper and they say we're writing an article, it's being published tomorrow, and you know your Penny and you're going to be on the front page, and you're like, no one's going to read. They're not going to look for the document. I laughed and I said, no, please write whatever. And then after that, I was like, okay, Konje, now I'm a mother. I have family. I've got friends. So let me call. So firstly, I called a friend of mine, Zen, and I said, I'm in this situation. And she said, I think you should speak to a lawyer. You've allowed this thing to go on for so long. And this is literally to silence your voice. And then there are real victims, who are faced with real issues of gender-based violence in our country. And then I was like, oh, okay, now that basically now makes me, because I was not comfortable at that particular time to be called an activist. I was not very comfortable. I was like, activist. I know people in the township who used to really do activism work. I was like, no, this is not activism what I do. I'm just a girl on radio who has platform and access, who can amplify conversations. Am I an activist? I don't know. And at that particular time, I really had to question if that's what I'm becoming. And a lot of people who have a public profile are very afraid of being poster children of things. So even if somebody is a victim of abuse at home, people don't talk about it, not because they don't want to talk about it, because they don't want to be remembered as the woman who was abused, who's on radio, who's on television. And they have a right to protect themselves because they do the work, but they're not there to be continuously victimized for using their platforms and their voices for that. So I had to think about that. So I asked my female friend.
Okay.
And then at the same time, I asked the man who was in my life at the time. And then I had to discern that, is it his ego speaking because it involves someone who was part of my life at a particular season of my life.
Yeah.
And whether they were speaking as a countryman, a brother, a man, as much as they could be my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And then they spoke to me as a dad of girls.
Okay.
And they spoke to me as a brother. And they spoke to me as, you know, you're a businesswoman. You do this work. You speak to young women about this. So you have to take a stand. You can't allow this. And then I had to weigh in. Do I have the emotional capacity to go through this process? Because when you're dealing with a situation like that, it's going to re-traumatize you whether you like it or not. You have to go back to the moments of the things that are insinuated about you. You have to almost defend yourself, even though you feel that your work speaks for yourself and that you've been consistent in, you know, but there'll also be new voices who will never consider your track record. They will see what they want to see. It's easy to conclude you're a better ex, you know, you're not over someone, especially if that person is married and you're not married, as if like that's what defines your emotional capability.
Yeah.
And then I had to also consider, you know, my own family, you know, because I'm good at like tackling and handling my business. But when things happen, everybody wants to come. They want to know if you're okay. Now you have to repeat the whole thing over and over again. You know, you must pull out the documents. So I had to do all of those things. And I mean, the journalists only sent me one page. I had to now call them, beg them to send me the entire court document, which means now I must know information that I was not interested in. Like I'm very particular in protecting my mental health. Like I can read a paragraph of a thing and say, I'm not interested because it's just not going to move on. So I had to now allow myself to engage this thing and now be part of this thing in whatever bigger scale is going to become. And at the same time, remove my ego and not make it about me, because it was not about me. It was through me. And my name made sense because it meant that it will be on the front page. People will be interested in the story. They wouldn't be interested in that I can't even appear in front of a judge to defend myself. I have to now find a lawyer who's going to cost me money. That's money for my children, which I'm not willing to spend on that. So I had to consider all those facts. And I've dealt with trauma counseling. I've dealt with life recovery. I've had like coaches and therapists in my life. So I knew exactly what it is. And also, I'm an empath. I'm a spirit-led person. So the energy of what that time was came on me. I literally was flat. I had to nurse myself. I had to nurture myself. And that's like the first inner circle of the people that I spoke to. Then it's like the bigger circle of friends. Penny, are you okay? Oh, so you have to be able to
screen
answer.
Grabs from Twitter.
Screen grabs from Twitter, family calling, friends who haven't spoken to you for years who are like, "Hey, bro, I was there 20 years ago. I mean, what is the story now all about? What does this person say?" So all of those things had to come back. But at the same time, you have to compose yourself and you have to navigate that process and you have to guide your ego, your emotions, and let the legal process be what it is, because it's happening through you, not to me. So all of those things.
The comments on Twitter or X, and there are those keyboard warriors who hide behind their profiles. Now that you're here and you've gone through all of that, what guidance would you give someone? Because for me, for example, I believe, and I do, if somebody's going through a tough time, I will not contribute to that because they are already dealing with a tough time. If someone I know professionally has had something terrible happen in their careers, I am very aware of it's painful enough for the person. What would you say? Let's say you are giving guidance to someone who is quite quick to retweet, to comment about stuff they know nothing about really, but contribute to the pain of it.
So as the person who's going through it, or as someone
person who's gone through it, and you've had people throw comments your way that don't have the full knowledge of the case. They don't know your mental capacity, because a lot of hurt comes through what's being said about you on social media platforms?
Okay, so I mean, I'm probably a bad example to give the person advice because on Twitter I don't really give a damn what they say about me,
Good.
especially if they throw it at me.
Yeah.
When the only time I respond is when people get familiar and they think they know my family or my kids and they want to start talking about kids, and I just do a direct response to say, don't go there. You can talk about Penny Lebyane because my name is Penelope Matsidiso Lebyane. Penny Lebyane is a girl that you guys think you know who works on radio and television and does that. And that's the brand name.
Yeah.
But there's the person behind. So once you start getting to the person behind, it gets very personal. And I'm from Bushbuck Ridge via Pimville. So I can sort you out fast. I'll go into your DMs and tell you, don't disrespect me. You don't know me.
Yeah.
And we can meet for lunch and have a conversation if you want.
Yeah.
Then I can school you.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people do that, and I'm not saying they should.
Yeah,
they should do that because But if you just say, hey, Penny Radio, hey, Penny's got Zimbabwean kids and whatever, I'm like, yo, man, indulge your ignorance. I'm sure you'll get some likes today at my name. But then if someone going through a real experience and someone that I know, I reach out to them privately. I don't retweet per se. I will only say, yo, man, Nonto, how awesome are you today? In the midst of all of that, I'll take a left. Or I'll find something that you've done that is already on the very socials and post it, with literally sending you positive energy. If I don't know you personally. If I know you personally and in the industry or so, I will reach out. I'll send you a little message. And if you respond, then I engage. I mean, I recently shared my experience and thoughts on what I went through when Mini was going through the whole podcast saga. And I just said, let it go through you because it has happened to so many people. It mustn't be like it's happening to you alone. Be a conduit of this, principle and lesson and energy that it can bring into collectively. So it shouldn't be, poor me, I'm the victim. It should be, you can't keep doing this and getting away with it. And there's a difference when you remove your ego about it and when you make it a matter of principle and also to school people, because there's a lot of uneducated people who sit with microphones, who are very influential in their own way, who disrespect other people's influence or launder other people's image to make themselves relevant, and unfortunately a lot of males in the industry do that, where they use females' names to get to elevate themselves. So you just gotta find a nice, decent way to school them that we are not in the playground. Yes, we might have started at the same era, but I'm at a different level and I influence in different spaces. It's not high school where you're like, I'm the cute girl you liked and you can't have me and now you must say nasty things. We are grown up.
Yeah. As a mom, what do you teach your children about things not going their way?
So my son is 20. I think we've gotten a little bit to that. So my daughter, the world revolves around her for now. Like, it's just so bad. She has no concept of things not going your way, except for not passing a test. That's the closest. Or maybe not getting something that she wants, which she'll get over time. Whereas my son has had, a bit of that. He's 20. He's had to deal with wanting something, and then, it's not happening the way he sees it, and then he has to sort of like understand that. So I sort of like try to show them the different side to the same thing, that you can still get it, but not the way that you envision. You have to be patient with yourself, and you also have to understand that just because you see it this way, it can't always be like that. And also that you can try again if that's what you feel you want to go at it, instead of like literally seeing it as a disaster. Nothing will ever come out of that. And that also, like, people will let you down. You have to hold yourself up no matter what. And that process is not nice. It can be tedious, but at the end, you might not get the specific results that you want, but the process of you going through that will take you to where you need to go.
Yeah. I have found that it helps to not shield our kids from the realities of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that the one thing that, for me that stays in my mind is, if I died today, what have I left my kids with that will put them in good state, in good position, that will ground them, that will help them navigate life without me physically being with them. And it's a scary thought to think about that.
But it's what we have to do as moms. And I think, sometimes we might not be able to like articulate it directly like that, but it's a thought worth pondering on continuously, and being intentional and conscious in doing it. And it's easier said than done.
I know.
Because also, I don't know with you, like you're raising your kids with other family members, and you find that you're trying to steer them this way, and someone else,
an uncle comes this way.
Yeah, an uncle comes. You say no sugar after 10, and someone says, "Oh, let's have sugar," and then you're thinking, "I don't give my kids sugar after 10," or you're like, "Hey,
give your kids sugar. Yeah, not mine."
And then you're like, "Do you know how long it got me here?"
Yeah.
So you also have to sort of like navigate that and give them a chance to find their center and trust that the seeds that you've planted into their lives, will bear fruit eventually.
Yeah,
that's hard.
Yeah. So let's talk about a trend I see with some public people, which is to own up when your view of something has changed or was based off a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
That I've seen a few podcasts be like, okay, I misread this article.
Yeah.
My interpretation was wrong. Let me be grown enough on the mic to say, I'm changing my mind about whatever. How do you navigate owning up when your opinion is formed and something comes later to change your opinion of something? Do you kind of find it easy to grab the mic and say, well, guys, listen, when I made an opinion and I declared it like this in terms of how I'm processing the information, that point of view has changed. Do you find it easy to change your mind when different information is in front of you?
I find it easy to do that, but I have not been in that situation where I've had to do that.
Yeah.
Because I try to sort of like, before I articulate an opinion, I try to like be as informed as I can about it. That's why I'm saying I'm always willing to back it up.
Okay.
And because also maybe I'm spoiled because I understand media dynamics and how media works. So by the time I say something, and then if I'm called to elaborate on it, I'm willing to. And I always take up. People were like, I went on ENCA to talk about the flag, and people were like, "Oh my God, you shouldn't." I'm like, but I have this opinion. I really believe
about the flag.
I do believe in the flag. I believe in it should be standing there in the middle of Voortrekker Monument. Why not? And also my articulation was like, how did they build the Eiffel Tower? What informed that? Why does it sit there now? And I was like, if we want to do things like that as a country, what do we have to do? But people saw it as like, oh, you're saying they must spend 22 million. No, it's not my problem that your comprehension is at fault. It was a question, and I also posted things about the Eiffel Tower. And obviously there's too much noise, and also on X, South Africans don't like differing voices. It's one of the biggest problems that I think we have as a country. Yeah. If we were allowed differing voices, if we allowed different people's understanding of things, and then to collectively, we like to throw the bucket with the baby. We don't say, oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, but there's some elements. So because I don't
deconstructing.
We don't like deconstructing things. So I have a problem with that. I'm like, so it basically means that we must all do one thing. This is not high school. We must all wear black and white. No. It doesn't work like that. In my world, it doesn't.
Actually, the world is richer. Because of different opinions. And different perspectives.
And I believe that we're a multicultural society. We're a multi-diverse society. We should be able to do that. And I think it's probably also part of like our background, where we come from with apartheid and all of that. Like we're stuck in regionalism. We're stuck in tribalism. We're stuck in like people are always looking for, how am I a victim here? Instead of looking of like, how am I part of a collective? We're always looking for differences instead of looking for similarities. So I just think that if I have 20% to add to the 100%, my 20% is good enough, because I don't think you have an entire 100%. I mean, even if you do, and then I also have 100%, it's okay for me to back you up. So my outlook is like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you don't like the 22 million part,
Yeah.
but we gotta do things that are of national identity, of national symbolism. And we can't just like, I don't like it because I think we as artists must get money now. Oh, okay, the budget doesn't come there. It's not my fault that you don't know that the budget doesn't come there. And sometimes it's a lot of like ill-informed reasoning, and then it trends and it just creates this discourse, and we just never make it through that conversation, and we miss a lot of things because we react like that. And the laziness as well in like newsrooms, and when I say newsroom, I mean radio, television, everywhere. Then it becomes a story, then it's a print, and then everyone in parliament is panicking to respond to minus 5.5% of the population that's on Twitter.
Yeah.
People in Soweto don't know what you're talking about, and you're not caring to inform them, you're not caring to deconstruct the conversation to build to the bigger picture of where we're trying to get at.
Yeah.
So we always feel like we're a failure, or we're not achieving things as a nation, whereas there's so much great things happening in this country. But if you're walking around like this with your eyes blind, you're not going to see it.
Yeah. I want to ask how you have developed your resilience, because one of the things I know about you, and it's coming across you now, is that you are thick-skinned, you are fearless. Love all of that. There is a bravery you have. If you are to look back at just, moments in your career, was it a boss you worked with? Was it how you started off in radio? What would you say has contributed to this bravery you have? And the confidence you have.
Okay, I don't know if I'm thick-skinned, but also, I mean, I have there's different aspects of me. There's Penny, the woman in media who has a voice, who understands the power of the microphone and influence, and not mincing your word, saying what you mean and meaning what you say. And then there's Penny, the young girl who's a grown woman who has been bruised, and then there's the other responsibilities of being a mother and all of that. I think I would say that in terms of like my career and my work, I had to develop resilience. I had to refine my voice over time. There were times where I didn't trust my voice. There were times where I didn't think I am heard or seen or even make sense, and then I used to panic about it. I would have so much information that I want to put out there, and then it wouldn't just come across the way that I would want it to come across, or it would land in a way that, people misconstrue what I say. And then I would spend time trying to I want to correct that and then second guess myself. And I think my resilience comes from exactly that, that I would have meetings with myself before I do something, or have meetings with myself after.
Meeting with myself.
Yes, I'm part of the committee of one. The people who, I go
come
out
into
there.
my boardroom.
Come into my bedroom, Penny. Let's have a conversation. Or
talk.
if I'm saying I'm going to do this, and then if 100 people say no, and then I'm like, I think I want to do this, I'm going to carry on and do it. And if they 5 come after the fact, they come. But I'm going to pursue that. So that obviously came from, I think, not being heard first time around when I articulated my ideas and dreams and things like that. I was those people who'd want to write a 10-point ideas to the marketing team at work and say, this is what I'm going to do. And then when it doesn't, I don't become part of it. And then it's being done with other team members. And I'm like, I think I did that. And then I'll ask my friend.
This was my idea.
I was like, that was my idea. Wait a minute. And then, but it will take me a while to realize that, wait a minute, that's my idea. They're executing it different. Oh, and then I'll go talk to my other friend who is in senior. And then I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to complain. Keep it moving. So it came from the no's that I got, and figuring out how to still achieve the same thing that I wanted to achieve without going through the people who said no to me. So it came from that. But I mean, on the other side, as a mom, and just a woman, I guess it comes from you. No one's coming to save you. No one is fighting for you, especially if you're Penny and you're always fighting for others. Oh no. When you're going through something, everyone's like, she can handle it. And then you're going, I'm drowning.
Where are the
Where are the
voices?
voices? Who's saving me? No one is saving you. So you
Yeah.
basically say, okay, looks like I'm
I'm
drowning.
literally breathing
Then you
now.
You count from 10. You're
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're like, okay, as I was saying,
I shall get the mic back.
Bring it. So you had to learn to be like that.
Yeah.
And then I think obviously how you tackle things in your 20s,
it
should be different how you tackle them in your 30s, and it should be different how you tackle them in your 40s. But there should be a authentic thread of who you are. Like if you're a loyal person, it should come through. If you're a truthful person, it should come through. If you're a reliable person, it should come through. You should also not be wishy-washy. Yeah, it should be like, So that's why you gotta be truthful, reliable, authentic in what you do, so that when someone comes to you and say, oh, you did this in your 20s, you're like, I don't remember. I think maybe also for me that was that. It's like I committed to myself and my career and the journey that I wanted to get into in media for the long haul. So I probably was harder on myself on like how I tackle things, how I handle things, how I manage, so that when I get to a certain age, I don't have to look back, explain.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, one last question: what guidance would you give to a public person in the public space who is struggling to take risks because of a failure they went through, who's just struggling, the self-esteem is low, the confidence is low, and they just are not shaking off that failure? What guidance would you give? What 3 things would you give that person as guidance from Penny?
Okay. Depending on where they are in their career, I think when you're starting out, it's very important to hold on to your truth. When you get into that opportunity that firstly makes you a public figure, whether it's marketing teams, PR teams, management, when you know that you're trying to go there, and then you can see that they're taking you that way, be willing to not go that way and go there slowly, because the thing that makes people end up in spaces is because they want to go there because they think it's a quicker way to get there.
Okay.
And that takes you to places and spaces and moments that leads to that depleting moment where you're like, oh, who am I? What am I going to do? How do I recover from this? How do I get here? So that's one. In the early days, don't give in your power too early. And a lot of time people, when they start out, they think they don't have power. You have power. You always have power. You come with power. It's just you exercising the power. So know that you have power from the get-go. That's one. And secondly, don't build monuments on like on moments. Like don't erect an Eiffel Tower. Don't erect an Eiffel Tower.
That's the title of your book.
Yeah, don't erect an Eiffel Tower. So and also, interrogate that moment so that you can own the parts that you own, and don't carry other people's business and contribution to that mess. Leave them with their mess. So know your baggage and carry your baggage forward. So that, people, when you talk about your lived experience, they always feel like you're talking about them. No. So make it very clear. That's my lived experience and this is where my experience ends. Yeah, you might have been part of the story, but you see, here the yellow line, you're this part, I'm this part, and we are still the couch. Because sometimes people are like, oh, why is she talking about the couch? Hey, I'm sitting on it. So this is my part and this is my part. And you can't make me responsible for this part. And because I'm doing the work on myself and I'm showing up as me.
Yeah. Show up as yourself. I love that. Well, we're at the end of the conversation with Penny Lebyane on Cheers to Failure. Thank you, Penny. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please won't you do me a favor? Click the subscribe button as well as the notifications button so you know when we've got new content on our YouTube channel. And share it with your friends, whoever you believe needs to know that failure doesn't mark the end, but is filled with beautiful, glorious lessons we all need to have. Thank you.